What's going on, everybody? This is the Ground Up Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron, and this is
Keisha Rock.
And this is episode 48.
Today, we are bringing you Maria Terrell, owner of Ivy Picnics, a luxury picnic business here in RVA. Welcome, Maria. Giggles today. We are in person, y'all. So we are recording for the first time out of our new space over in Jackson Ward with the St. Luke Legacy Center. And we're so excited to be doing this episode in person. Y'all know how I feel about in-person episodes. It's a whole vibe. Sorry, I'm also drinking champagne. So
big ups to St. Luke Legacy Center for that.
Yes, it's beautiful.
This is so neat. I love it. So, Maria, before we get into like your entrepreneur journey, I want you to describe for the listeners your business. Like, I want them to understand Ivy Picnics because, y'all, this ain't no everyday picnic.
Okay, at the core of what we do is that we deepen connections with other people through awesome aesthetics and through just making you see the places that you're used to seeing in a completely different way.
Yeah.
I think through that, you see the people that you're used to seeing differently.
Wow.
Yeah, and so literally what we do is we create luxury picnics. So custom low tables, table runners, tablescapes, candles,
pillows. It's the pillows for me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Gorgeous plush seating. Like it almost feels like you're in a fancy dining experience, except you're outside in nature or even in the comfort of your home.
Yeah.
It's really cool to transform a space. You know, it's almost like a blank canvas. Like, hey, I've seen this part before. I've seen this living room before. But when people go back into it after we're done working, they're like, I love the gasp.
Yeah, no, it's seriously like, here I go. Y'all take a minute, don't pause me, but you have to go and look at her Instagram, look at her TikTok, Ivy Picnics. It's the aesthetic. Like when I came across your account, I was like, whoa, like this is beautiful. I want to be there doing that because that's the cool thing to do. Like, it is beautiful and it's a whole vibe. But let me ask you, what were you doing before Ivy Picnics?
So I was actually in luxury jewelry sales.
Oh, so you always in luxury. Okay.
Yes, I have. It was a natural transition.
Yeah, so luxury jewelry sales. So, but a 9 to 5, right? Like,
yeah.
So what led to Ivy Picnics? How did this come to be?
So that's a great question.
That's the question.
I feel like the pandemic really changed things for a lot of people, but for me specifically, as someone who's so extroverted, as someone who's used to, in that way at the time, I was used to helping people surprise people they love and kind of reinvigorate relationships and show people how much they mean to them. And my part then was so small compared to now. So when things slowed down a little bit with the pandemic, I was realizing that it was kind of depressing. Like I wasn't out seeing my friends as much. I got to be with my family. We all decided to quarantine together. So I was really, really grateful for that. So what we decided was, we're not going to let this get us down. We're not going to stop celebrating birthdays and celebrations. We're not going to be unsafe and go outside, but what we're going to do is make the most of it together. So I would start transforming the home.
Oh, wow.
I would bring in balloons and look up things on Pinterest and figure out different ways to make the places that like we're used to look different.
Wow.
Yeah, and in that way I was like, okay, like this is really fun watching this person like that I already knew that knew me like be so excited and feel so cared for in this way.
So you were doing this for your friends and family?
From just my family. I wasn't seeing any friends or anything. Like my family quarantined together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, wow, that blows my mind that this literally started in quarantine and now here you have a thriving business.
Totally.
What was the transition into saying that this is something I'm doing for fun to keep myself sane and have fun with, connect with my family, to I'm going to make this into a profitable business?
So I had the idea after seeing some iterations of it on TikTok. I was like, I feel like I could do something like this in my own little way, So I saw some people like in San Francisco doing something similar. Their style is really different from mine, but that was like the first time I saw that this was even a thing. I was thinking, wow, I've kind of done this through the pandemic for my family. And then I did something really special for my girlfriend. She's Chinese, and it was Lunar New Year. So, and it was the same weekend as Valentine's.
Nice.
Yeah, so I was like, how am I gonna like combine these two completely different, unrelated holidays and make one special thing?
Yeah.
And I figured out a way to do it. I was like, I'm gonna make the entryway Lunar New Year and have her be completely shocked. And then when she walks into the bedroom, everything was Valentine's, like a second surprise.
I love that.
Yeah, so after I did that, people started messaging me, like my friends, and they were like, can you help me do something special for me? And my girlfriend, like, can you help me do something special for me, the person I'm dating? And I was like,
so wait a minute. People told you that you need to make this into a business. They came to you.
Yeah, I had the idea for it, but I had no idea when I was going to start. Like, I had no idea.
Right, but you got pushed.
Yes, I was dumped into it.
Okay, you brought up TikTok, so let's go ahead and take it there.
Yes.
You are doing your thing on TikTok. I wrote down, let me see, what did I say?
Thank you so much.
29.3K followers on TikTok. And you've had...
Big ups.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And you've had videos literally go viral. Like, you're killing it. Okay, so... Before the business, were you really into TikTok? And how has TikTok played into the success of Ivy Picnics?
Totally. So before, I was obsessed with TikTok.
Okay.
Like, I think there was a time...
But were you like a viewer or were you creating?
Both, but I was more of a viewer than a creator.
Yeah.
I think there was a time in the pandemic where everyone's like stuck at home. They're like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go online.
Girl, I was pregnant, so I was like really up in there.
Definitely was a TikToker.
I love that. I feel like there was that kind of time where us as a collective were all kind of online, looking to be entertained, looking to have something to do. Like,
Yeah.
I need ideas. How am I gonna, redo my space? What am I gonna do with all this time? And so I loved TikTok from before, but I definitely was more of a viewer. I decided to make one for my business, just being like, kind of like Instagram, like you should just be on the platforms. And then I tried to like take it really seriously, and that wasn't necessarily working for me. And I realized the thing that I really love about TikTok is that you get rewarded for your authenticity.
Oh.
So the more I'm myself, the more I'm like, this is a wild idea I had, or this is something that I really enjoy, or this is something that I think nobody else likes, but I like.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just show you guys how I do it.
That's a key. I don't want to glance over that.
Oh, no.
Like, it's all about, like you said, this is what I enjoy. This is what, even if no one else likes it, like, I'm still going to create because I'm a creator now. Like, you really tapped into that, it seems like.
Yeah.
And you got rewarded for your authenticity.
Totally.
Your quality of your videos, too, are pretty dope. Like, they look aesthetically pleasing.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. But, I just want to highlight you also as an entrepreneur, but also as a creative, because I think when it comes to creative and when it comes to social media, it can be a little stifling because you're so focused on
Getting it perfect.
Yeah, the perfection and the views, and is this gonna hit? But it sounds like you're just creating and finding the joy in it, and not necessarily. I mean, it feels good when it does hit, but you're not like, this has to be this way to like go viral, like.
No, I think ultimately, the more I understand how the algorithms on each platform work, the less I feel like if something flops, that it just means that people hated it.
Right.
Like, it's not really that people hated it so much as they didn't see
it. Yeah.
So I think that helps with the self-esteem when you're like, oh, like that. Like before, it was like I would like delete a video if I felt like it didn't do well. Now I'm like, whatever. The next one that hits, it'll push out the other
how I
ones.
feel.
That's how I started feeling too.
Yeah, because at the same time, like, I know some people are so like, okay, well, you got to post it this time then so you can get the most reach, and more power to you if you're actually like doing that. Is that something you're doing?
I mean, I try to pay attention to the times, but honestly, the algorithm changes so often that it's kind of like at some point you just have to do you and realize. Like, for me personally, I'll do some of the trends on TikTok because I think they're really fun, but all of my original content is what's gone viral.
Wow, that's something to say right there.
Yeah. And so
because the people that, like, you see now, like, a lot of social media coaches, right? And they're like, do the trend, do the trend, do the trend. But you're saying your original content is what went viral. I feel like that's powerful.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's powerful, y'all.
I'm like, I'm not a coach, but I know what's worked for me. And it's funny, too, because different things go viral on TikTok than Instagram for me. Like, I had something hit. this is really funny because I was like out to lunch with a friend of mine and she's like, show your face more. Like people like love when you get on camera.
I tell my small business owner friends that all the time. Show your face, show your face.
Yeah, definitely bring yourself.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't know. Like some days I'm like, I'm not wearing makeup. I feel like and the more I've let go of that, the more I've seen the external like gratification of that. Like I had my first reel hit 10K, which is like miles beyond so many of my other ones. And it was just me in like bad lighting, like doing a dance saying like small business owners, you're doing great. Like,
I shared that one, by the way. I did.
Yeah, but that just shows you like a big thing that I've learned in growing my business is that you have to let go of the aim for perfection. Like you have to do it before, like some things you have to do before you're ready.
Yes.
Some things you have to do before it's perfect because if you're like me, you're never going to be like, oh, okay, it's exactly perfect right now. This is how I want it.
That is so true. Just start. I say that all the time, but like it is okay to learn as you go. It's almost 100%. Even better because like you realize like if you really try to wait till it's perfect, good luck. Like good luck whenever starting.
Exactly. I do believe learning as you go, like kind of like those hard knocks in life are the best teachers.
Yeah.
And you'll have the support of like your tribe and like the people around you. That's how you'll get lifted back up.
Right.
Okay, so this is where we're at. We have people DMing you, asking you, "Hey, do this for me. Do this for me." So something must have clicked. How did you structure the business? Do you know what I mean?
So I think I knew as soon as the first person was like, "Hey, I'd love for you to do this for me." I sat down with a notebook. I was like, "Okay, how does this look like? Like, what would be the vision of something that I think would be like so outstanding that would really knock them off their feet? Something I haven't seen someone else do." Then I went, okay, how much would it cost to do all those materials?
Right.
I have like a formula in an Excel sheet for like, okay, this is the cost of materials. This is like the cost of my time. This is how much I would need to charge that person for it to make sense.
Was that hard for you to figure that out, to come up with that? Was that like
I didn't come up with that. My stepdad did that.
Oh, okay. Well, use your resources, people.
Resources.
Thank you for thinking so highly of me. I'm like, I try my best to stick to it, but he made the spreadsheet.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and so we go, okay, so this is how much I have to charge for it, like for it to be worth it. And that's the part that's like not within my strength. The part that was me going, okay, I know that I want florals. I know I want something really tasty and like romantic. I know I want an activity for them. And I know I want the aesthetic to be kind of outstanding, you know, like something that you walk in and that gasp that I'm telling you about.
Yeah, you want to see them gasp.
Yeah, and I don't always get to see it, but I'll know. Like a lot of times I see like the phone gets pulled out when they're like, you know, or I get to hear after. Like I love until like people tell me afterwards. They're like, so and so loved it. Or some people will say that was the best night of my life. I'm like, thank you.
You are literally your job that you created for yourself, which is amazing. Like something I also want to highlight is people that create their own opportunities, you know, and I feel like you're one of those stories. Like you've created your own opportunity, but like you get to literally create memories for people.
Oh, yeah.
Like unforgettable memories.
Absolutely. That's the part that I love. It's like if you're somebody and you know you love your partner, but you're not super creative, you know, like...
Aaron, are you listening?
I'm right here. I'm listening.
People send my profile to their partners all the time.
What was that?
Like people will say like, I've been sending it to my boyfriend. I've been sending this to my like girlfriend. Like I sent this to my fiance. I'm like, yeah, please share it. Like I'm like, when they reach out, I'll remember that.
Well, we have our 4-year wedding anniversary coming up in December. So I'm just going to drop that right here, y'all. And we're going to keep going.
Okay.
So
I love that.
Yeah. So you get to do such an incredible, it's just such a cool job. Like let's admit it.
It's so positive and it makes people feel so good. And that's, I think, one of the best parts, that I can make a living off of doing something that I get excited to do.
So is this your sole income?
Yes.
That is amazing. Would you have ever thought, like pre-pandemic, would you have thought that you'd be sitting here right now doing this, talking about this is what you do for a living? Like this is how you feed yourself?
No, I was like, I'm number one in sales. I'm going to continue to be number one, and that's that. Like, that was like, this is my trajectory.
So wait, so prior to this, so you have always been like kind of like a number one, like I'm number one at doing.
Like an overachiever type.
Yeah, okay, I gotcha.
100%.
100%.
Yeah, and before the pandemic, like I was like crushing it at work, and I feel like it was a really big disruption to have everything happen of like, okay, now we're working from home and like the world is different, you know, and I think it reprioritized things. Like I was kind of like, once you stripped away all the other stuff of like going out with your friends and blowing out steam after work and like, you know, that you can go like spend all your money and do all these fun things. Once it was just the job, I was like, I don't want to do that.
But when did you realize, so you start, you know, you're getting like customers, clients. When did you realize like, I'm on to something? Like this is going to be something, like, did you know immediately like you were going to be able to like not go back to work and just do this? Like,
so I kind of soft launched like around that Valentine's time when
Valentine's of 2020?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, Valentine's of 2021. This year. It was this year.
Okay.
I'm 6 months old this month.
Whoa.
Oh, 6 months. Hold up.
Yeah. Thank you.
Wait.
So just like
6
a week
months.
ago.
I don't want to like skip ahead to or anything, but the amount of success you've had in 6 months, I thought you were a year and 6 months old.
Yeah, I thought she was. I thought you
In
did it about
6
a year.
months. It's incredible. Like you've,
so much.
I mean, I guess I'll go ahead and skip ahead, but you've been highlighted on the news already on our local news station. Like you're kicking it, like I said, on your social media platforms. What do you think is the key to like why you're standing out and why you're so much success?
I think if you follow your bliss and at the very least, like follow your curiosity, then the things that you are really interested in and the things that you're really into, you'll pour that extra like time and energy into. And I think other people recognize that kind of radiating off of you.
Yeah.
When you're like, I'm doing something I love to do. Like something I did for free for a long time. Like before it was a business, just helping out friends and family and stuff. Right. And I think when you're really doing something you love and you feel that kind of external support of also getting like monetary like gratification from it and like emotional, and when people are like, wow, like you did something that really helped me, and you feel like you're pouring into yourself and other people, then I think it's just like unstoppable. And I think that that's something that has really been on my side through this process, and I didn't even realize it until I was in the thick of it.
Right. Yeah. So have you had an aha moment yet where you're like, man, I really started this. I'm doing it, and like I'm doing great at it. Has any highlights happened throughout the journey?
I'm so hard on myself. There have been so many highlights. Like I feel like I'm always like, oh, but I want to hit this number. I want to like hit this many. But honestly, I mean, if you ask me, there have been many, many highlights. Like she has to remind me to like celebrate things.
What stands out in your memory? What would you say for you was a really good moment?
I mean, honestly, like the weekend I launched, I got so many bookings that it was like unreal, that I was like, I have to
now when you say so many, are we talking like 15? Are we talking 20? Like what are we talking about here?
More.
Really?
So many that I was like, wow, like I have to quit my job. And I think, and that was the very beginning, so I guess I second guessed myself. Like I was like, I'm taking a leap here, like I don't know what it's gonna turn into. Like, so my ahas are really like, I'm like, aha, but like don't quote me. And then it's like when I had like my first few like viral TikTok videos, that was cool because I was thinking like, you know, I'm just putting something out there. I don't know how it's going to do.
Right. Yeah.
And it's always in your mind. You're like, I think this is great and I'm really interested in this. And this makes me feel good. But then when you see other people being like, this is gorgeous and like, I love this. And like, like I've had people drive from North Carolina to have a picnic with me, and there are picnic places in North Carolina.
Wow.
And they're like, I want yours. Like I saw you on TikTok, and I'm like, oh, that's a good moment, you know, like being on the news. I've been like reposted by some like wedding blogs and stuff. I've been on another news station.
So it's like the last 6 months have probably been the wildest ride of your life thus far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds so funny to say that.
Yeah.
Just because I'm like, I have so much more life left.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
This is,
oh, girl,
like, I don't have like a baby or a family. So I'm like, yeah, this has pretty much been the wildest.
Yeah. I mean, and this is just the beginning.
Oh, totally.
Calling out to all my plant lovers in Richmond, Virginia. Cole's Plants on Church Hill is where it's at. Not only do they have a wide selection of plants, but Cole's Plants on Church Hill is a whole vibe. It's hip, peaceful, tranquil, and welcoming to all. Plants on Church Hill staff will help you find the perfect plant that fits you and your space. Browse their online showroom at colesplants.net or just go on in there. They're located in Richmond at 1003 North 25th Street. Tell them the Ground Up Podcast sent you by using the TGUP discount code for a special discount off your purchase. Details are in the show notes. So what has been the most challenging thing about starting or running your business?
I think the most challenging thing is creating processes so that if I need to be removed for any reason, like let's say one day I want to go on vacation or if I'm sick or something,
Yes.
that somebody else can step in and still run things to the same standard of quality as if I'm not there. That's been the biggest challenge.
I love that you're thinking about that 6 months in.
Right.
It is so dire to think about that, honestly, from the beginning, which is 6 months is like still the beginning. Because at some point, like the whole, entrepreneur goal, right, is to like have freedom,
Yeah.
So like, while we love what we do, you have to be thinking about your processes and can you be able to one day step away from this business, but be in it how you want to.
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like not be in the throes of it.
Right.
Yeah, I saw something, this was like months ago, where it was like entrepreneurs are the only people crazy enough to work 80 hours to avoid working 40.
It's so true.
So true. So true.
I'm like, we take the L in the short term of our time.
Yes,
You
it's
can
so
just have all my
true.
time so that we can have that vision come true where we do have that freedom where we're just checking in or where we're like
Yeah.
overseeing the grand idea of
Right,
it.
right,
And
right,
then
right.
somebody else is running the like day to day and doing that because we put in that work early on to make sure those processes are in place.
Yeah. Do you have any like routines or routines or strategies you do to help you stay like goal focused, like on your goals and stay like within your processes? Do you have any like daily routines that you do?
I'm terrible at routines, but I really hyper focus on my goals.
Okay.
Like I do. There's like there's nothing that could get me to like forget about them.
Yeah. Well, how do you do that though? Are you good at like managing your time?
No, I have Simone.
So you have help.
Yeah,
Simone,
today.
Simone.
But before Simone, I did a lot of it, but it got so much better once I had her. Even today, for example, I was like, Simone, can you come over like while I'm putting my makeup on and like keep me on track? And like I was like, okay, we should do a live on TikTok. I was like, when we get there, we'll like film one. I'm like, we ate a little bit before, like she made sure I like ate before. Then she's like, okay, this time. Then she's like, okay, we're 15 minutes past that time. She's like, okay, this is the like 20-minute mark, like a stage manager.
Well, I know who Simone is because I'm meeting her right now. She's sitting across from us. But can we tell the listeners who Simone is?
Yes, Simone is my assistant. She's absolutely incredible. She's an entrepreneur herself. She's coming from operations and customer service at CarMax. And she really takes a role of coordinator, administrative stuff, and she has such an amazing eye for design that she helps me in that way as well with Ivy.
Yeah.
And like she will more in the future. Like all the packages are designed by me, but she's the person that I trust to go to when it comes to like, is this too much? Do you think this one is right?
Yeah.
Like, is this package actually finished?
Right. How important is it to have someone that can be like a sounding board and like help when you're a small business owner?
Oh, it's incredibly important. The thing is, like, at the end of the day, you can't do it on your own.
Yeah.
I'm always so jealous when I see, like, couples that are doing it together because I'm like, you're already used to supporting each other in that way and, like, being a team.
Right.
So I can't speak for you. Like, I'm like, oh, then you just add business. Like, I know it's complex.
It's complex.
But you already have that trust of that person of, like, you have my back no matter what.
Right.
And that is something that you can't rush with other people.
Right, exactly. So, like the skills you brought to the business was obviously your creativity.
Totally.
Yeah. What skills have you had to learn, though, to start like growing and focusing on like the success of the business?
Trying to stay organized.
Yeah.
Being consistent with like follow-ups. Keeping things in different folders. Like I have all these different folders in my email and I have to like remind myself to check my spam. I have to remind myself to follow up on like invoices and things. Like all of that kind of administrative stuff, I feel like is totally a challenge for me. Like if it was up to me, I would just be designing picnic packages and new things to like
Exactly.
Yeah, and doing the social media. But even that, like I come up with kind of a schedule, like not a day-to-day, like I need to post this time or do that, but I'll be like, okay, I know I need to find enough content to post 3 videos on TikTok today. Like I know I need to post every day now on Instagram, things like that.
Yeah.
That I try to be better about.
Yeah, I think that can be an easy struggle for many entrepreneurs, like the admin side. Yeah, it can be very time consuming, but it's like...
And the budget.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't give me a budget, throw it away.
Here's the budget.
I don't want that.
Do you have, like, as far as, like, you know, the profit that you're making, do you put a lot back into the business?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The profit's been incredible, but I do put a lot back in because I'm so new.
Right.
I'm like, there are so many other things that I still want to do, and I feel fortunate that I'm able to reinvest into myself, that I don't have to, you know, necessarily. I mean, I may like apply for some grants. Like I heard about one recently, but thus far I haven't had to do that at all.
Nice.
And I feel really fortunate that I haven't had to like go to the bank and be like, can you help me do this?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So how has building relationships played a role in your entrepreneur journey so far?
It's actually funny because at the beginning I didn't know anybody.
Right.
Because it was the pandemic, so I wasn't like there weren't festivals and like vendor fairs and stuff. So I had to kind of start to meet people online. Lacey with Cookie Lane has been like totally instrumental. I feel like she introduced me to so many other like small business owners, and she's been like my hype woman.
Yeah.
Like I feel like when you're first starting, you kind of feel lonely. Like you're like, I don't know if this is gonna work or not. And you're like, it's just me.
Right.
Yeah.
Then you meet other people that have been doing it longer, and it's like this deep breath you can take.
Oh, yeah. I feel like, shout out to Lacey. Her story's coming soon, guys.
I love you, Lacey.
Yeah, I feel like the RVA small business community, though, we really embrace each other.
Totally.
You know, and you find connections with certain people that, like, it really helps you get off the ground.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. No, I feel like that was amazing because it really, I think something that happens a lot with people that are brand new, not to say that I'm like so far along, but you feel like your problems, like you're the only one that has experienced those things.
Right, yeah.
You know, and they feel bigger than they are. And then the minute you talk to somebody that's been through it before, you get another like whiff of that deep breath where you're like, okay, it's going to be okay.
Yeah, and that's earlier you told me, and I'm not trying to just hype myself up, but I hope that the listeners feel this way too, who are small business owners. But you said that you love listening to our podcast because you feel like it's so relatable. You hear other people's story, and you're like, oh, I'm going through that, or oh, I can relate to that. Yeah. And I think it's so important through this journey to have that type of inspiration and, you know, people that you can relate to, and it can be virtual. You don't have to meet people. Like, you can just hear their story and be inspired.
Yeah, just people like hyping up your page or something. You're like, they didn't have to do that. That
was
right.
Yes.
But I think your podcast is so awesome because it's so easy to put people up on a pedestal, especially when you see like they have a little bit of success or a lot of success. And it's so easy to be like, oh wow, that person's life is so great. But it reminds you, like, you know, we all put on pants the same way in the morning. You
Exactly.
know, everyone's had struggles. Everyone's felt like, what am I doing before? And everyone's been like really excited at that next big thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like we're all entrepreneurs, so it's just really cool to get that reminder in that way.
Exactly.
So what's your vision of success for Ivy Picnics? Or your vision of success for you, Maria?
Wow, that's a great question. That's a big one. My vision of success for Ivy Picnics would not necessarily look like just consistent bookings, but beyond that, being able to do really interesting and unique things to get people closer together.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like what I try to start with is like the values of my business. And I try to think, you know, the real vision of Ivy is to deepen connection. And so when I think of that way, it's not just picnics, which is why I'm also going to have the movie nights, and which is why I also am happy to help plan like date nights or help people do like really interesting things for like bachelorette parties. Like, it starts to broaden once you just go back to that core value.
Right.
So if I'm the person in Richmond that's like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do for this party, or like, I have no idea what to do to like impress my date tonight. And it's like, we've done a picnic before, what can we do now? You know, like, I'd like to be that go-to person. Yeah. And that's my vision of success for my business, is that Ivy is synonymous with like, oh, that like amazing memory, that really good time, or like that's what you do for your date and you're really on it.
I
like,
love it.
Call Ivy Picnic.
Well, you're definitely on track making a name for yourself. That's for damn sure.
Thank you so much.
You really are.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. What have you learned about yourself through building your business?
I'm scrappy.
Ooh, you scrappy.
Yeah, I've learned that the minute something goes wrong, I don't just give up, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome, because a million things are going to go wrong. Like,
Exactly.
a business.
It's all part of the process.
Yeah, a business is like having a child. Like, you can't predict like everything that's going to happen, you know? Like, bringing a human into the world, like, once they're a human, you don't know what they're, like, they have to show you what they're going to be like.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the same with the business. Like, I'm like, okay, who's Ivy?
Right.
Yes, I love that. That's so accurate.
Yeah, and I think I've learned that I hope this makes sense, but what you get rewarded with for your work is more of the work. So you have to figure out how to enjoy it.
Ooh.
Like what I get as like an external reward for doing really well at my picnics or making my customers feel really good is more picnics. So I have to find the joy even in the parts I don't like, cleaning up, doing dishes, washing laundry. So even in the parts that I'm like, I find joy in them now because I know this is the journey. It's not going to be one point at the end where I feel like this is it. It was such a wild ride. So glad I'm a success now. Like I'm going to be in the thick of it and it's going to be like a continuous thing. So I have to find joy in the things I don't like, joy in the things I absolutely love, joy when it's slow, joy when things are completely fully booked. I just have to find the beauty in all of that, in that journey.
Wow.
Y'all. I mean, you just spoke to my soul.
Thank you. I love it
here. Just what you just said to the max. It really is finding joy in the journey, the everyday tasks. Yeah. Find gratitude in the fact that you are doing what you have decided to do. You know, you have created something it's yours, and that's special.
Yeah, and one day it'll be my kids, and that'll be the cool thing. I'm like, this is just my first company.
Yeah.
Who knows what I'll do like later on?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Exactly.
What advice? Is there anything else you want to make sure that the listeners know about Abby Picnics and your entrepreneur journey?
I think you're awesome, and I think you deserve something so special. And if the person that you're with isn't doing that, send them my page.
I love it. What advice would you give to those who are also in the beginning or even just have a great idea and want to act on it and start their journey?
I would say make sure that there's a part of it that you love. Because you're going to have to be so deep into it and you're going to be surrounded by it and you're going to have to tell everybody that you're doing it. You're going to have to talk about it and think about it and work on it so much. So make sure that some aspect of it is something that you love.
Absolutely.
That's the foundation. And then don't wait until it's perfect. Get your ducks in a row, like the legal things. Please do that. But aside from that, don't wait until it's perfect. You're not going to feel like it's perfect. Allow other people to rise to the occasion of supporting you.
Oh, I love that.
That's bars.
All right. That's Erin comes
Don't tempt me. I'm kidding.
Do it.
Oh, man.
All right. You ready to play the game, Maria?
Yes.
Let's do it.
I'm ready.
Would you rather this or that? All right. This or that. Snoop Dogg or 50 Cent?
Rather what?
Said neither.
Hang out with Snoop.
Hang out with Snoop.
Yeah, definitely.
Would you rather go to the movies alone or go to a restaurant alone?
Movies.
Movies, me too.
Yeah.
This or that, TikTok or Instagram?
Oh, TikTok.
Oh, this is where we differ. Would you rather not trust or not be trusted?
Not trust.
Oh.
Not be trusted. Oh my God.
This or that, Chipotle or Qdoba?
Oh, Chipotle.
Has
anyone said Qdoba? I don't trust them.
Wait, I used to work for...
I know you did. That's why I'm laughing harder.
Chipotle.
All right, Maria, this has been an absolute joy. Your business is incredible. You are incredible.
Thank you so much.
How can the listeners reach you?
Okay, I have a website, www.ivypicnics.com. I am Ivy Picnics on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and now Pinterest. I'm everywhere.
Beautiful. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for having me. This is a blast.
Yeah. Help us build this podcast from the ground up. Please rate and review an Apple Podcast. It helps further our reach, and your reviews mean so much to us. You can also support us by becoming a Patreon, or as we like to call it, a friend of the podcast. Find us on Instagram at The Ground Up Podcast and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to share with a friend. Until next time, we're rooting for you.